shipping companies to execute the vision of digital and green future of shipping, as well as future of supply chain. Now, I'm going to cover two aspects in this speech here. One is really on the landscape of services in Singapore. Let me give you a stock take. And secondly, our ambition for the industry. Now, first, state of maritime services in Singapore. I'm actually excited to say that for the past years, because of our global hub port and international maritime center, we've been able to attract more than 30 leading international shipbroking firms in Singapore. We have around 20 banks already with international ship finance portfolios. We have over 30 law firms with maritime practices and 10 international group protection and indemnity, IGP and iClub, many of whom are here today, and just have a good discussion with Nick. In recent years, we have also cultivated over 40 marine tech firms and more than 30 startups. So despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we witnessed the continued expansion of maritime services cluster in Singapore. For instance, on the marine insurance front, the Swedish Club is establishing a full service office in Singapore. Shipbroking firms like Howe Robinson, Lightship Chartering, and Perito Shipbrokers have also increased their presence in Singapore. We also saw insurance technology company Concirus set up its Asian base in Singapore. So with the global maritime industry at the cusp of transformation for future growth, whether it's in digitalization or decarbonization, if we want greater momentum, we will need greater collaboration in three key areas, and I'm going to elaborate on them, and that's our ambition, in the area of green financing, in the area of regulation, and in the area of risk management. Green financing. I think this is a buzzword now, not just in our sector, but also in other industry, energy, supply chain, etc. There is a global interest in green financing. There are companies who want to offer green financing, and there is a demand for green financing. So why is the momentum still not moving forward fast enough? To do this, everyone has to play our part. From MPA, we have launched the Maritime Singapore Decarbonization Blueprint 2050, and in which green finance is one of the key strategies. We need investment to catalyze change. So there is the R&D piece of future fuel, infrastructure development to cater to new green technologies. There's also the construction, sale, and purchase of green ships themselves. So all these need capital. We have set aside 300 million to support decarbonization projects and initiatives mapped out in the blueprint. This is also the reason why MPA and 6 private sector partners, and with more coming on board, has contributed 120 million to set up the Global Centre for Maritime Decarbonization to accelerate the sector's green transition. And Ruma from Google, if you were here for the opening ceremony, you have seen the unprecedented number of VCs that are actually coming into the marine tech sector. 11.3 billion in 2021, double that of 2020. So we've seen unprecedented interest in green financing. Green capital is looking for suitable projects and industry and projects to invest. If I could just elaborate some of the projects we have here in Singapore, we have announced the decarbonization of the domestic harbour craft. Financing will be needed to transition this fleet to lower carbon fuels in the near term and full electric propulsion or net zero fuels in the longer run. Next, we have shipping companies with ocean-going vessels where you need to go towards greener vessels. And we're not talking about just the big companies, we're also talking the SMEs, with smaller fleet numbers. All of us need to move together. And that, even if it means moving with dual-fuel engines as a transition. Third, we also need infrastructure investment, which is needed to prepare and support for this transition. So the key is we need to aggregate, we need to coordinate, and we need to better matchmake. We need to gather like-minded players together with different risk appetite to match funds to the right green projects at the right time. And that is the purpose of this session, focusing on maritime financing, maritime services, and also particularly with a focus on green financing. And to do this, we must build an ecosystem that draws funding interest into shipping, that generates the right projects, and that there's a platform that connects these funds with the projects. So with the 300 million, we hope that is a base to help to kickstart initiative and momentum in Singapore. Our aim is not the 300 million. It's not about co-funding. It's not about subsidizing, right? It is about how to work with like-minded players to snowball that, to upscale it, to multiply it. And that the sum that we are looking at is not just 300 million. And I'm hoping, it can grow by 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and why not 10 times to millions and billions of dollars, which will avail the funds to all our companies here with different risk appetite and with different risk levels of your vessels. So we are keen to work with industry players to offer a wide range of financing options, including potential new models of mechanism. We are engaging industry partners to explore, co-create such novel solutions as part of developing Singapore as a maritime green finance hub of Asia. Next, for the ecosystem to be effective, we need the various actors to speak the same language. I was just talking to one of you earlier, that in terms of the taxonomy, right, how do you account for the carbon? How do we develop? We need to develop a maritime green finance taxonomy, and including carbon accounting. So all these need to go hand in hand. And we have already started laying some pieces here, and I'm hoping that we can see the fruits of the labor over the next 1 to 2 years. And of course, there are few others additional initiatives underway. One example is the Maritime Green Finance Industry Sharing Series, which aims to raise more awareness of green finance projects in Singapore. In Singapore, we have also launched the Green and Sustainability Linked Loan Grant Scheme, GSLS, that's administered by MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore. Together with SMF, we'll also be bringing together key stakeholders in the round table to bring forward green financing solutions for our industry. And I know, for the matter of fact, some of you are already working with MPA to give us some of the proposition and some of the steps that we can move forward together. Singapore Shipping Association, Caroline here, the Finance Services Committee is also looking at ways to connect its members to maritime finance players. There is buzz, there's momentum. We now need to move all our discussion to action as soon as possible. So I've talked about green financing. Second area is on regulatory support, on regulation. As we undergo transformation of growth, it is crucial that we review and update our regulation to ensure our relevance. And we need to talk about such efforts. There have been also good developments in the legal and dispute resolution landscape. We've got our vice chair here from SCMA. So for instance, in 2021, Singapore was amongst the first shipping and trading hubs to enact legislation for electronic transferable records like electronic bills of lading. Now, it's a project EBL that we hold very true and dear to heart, and we really hope that we can get the support of as many players as possible to scale it up, because EBL only works if it's adopted globally by as many players as possible, and we've already proved that it can work. Now, the question is, what does it take for more of you to come on board to pilot trial further with us in the various sectors? So to support these efforts, we have approved 3 consortiums already to develop and trial EBL solutions across the container, dry bulk, wet bulk segments involving various supply chain. Arbitration. Now, we are now ranked as the most preferred arbitration seat in the world alongside London, according to the 2021 Queen Mary University of London White and Case International Arbitration Survey. The Singapore Chamber of Maritime Arbitration, Corina is here, and she's working hard behind the scene. We have been focusing on initiatives such as virtual hearings, electronic signature of awards, and enhanced expedited procedure to ensure quicker and cost-effective resolution of disputes. SCMA has also launched the inaugural Maritime Arbitrator Accreditation Program, which was held in conjunction with the Singapore Institute of Arbitrators Fellowship Assessment course. These will facilitate the professional growth and development of maritime arbitrators in Singapore. Beyond arbitration, we look into the arena of mediation. The Singapore Convention on Mediation has also gained traction. It enhances the enforceability of cross-border mediated settlement agreements, and so far, 55 countries have signed the convention, and 9 countries have ratified or approved the convention. So we hope that all these efforts here will better position Singapore as a leading center for maritime dispute resolution. Now, the third aspect, so green financing, regulation, now risk management. The uncertainties of the world today will continue to weigh on the risk management sector. I've got questions here. How will the risk profile change with decarbonization? For instance, if there are any operational issues that arise from adoption of alternative fuels, such as delays or vessel-related problems, they are relevant to insurance. With the rising emergence of digitalization, how do we price cybersecurity risks? What is the outlook, the claims, and the premiums against geopolitical uncertainties? So these are questions that I have, the questions MPA has, the question the industry have, and it's a question I think that's keeping marine insurers busy. So our priority for the risk management segment would be to work with industry players. We need to raise awareness. We need to develop new capabilities in emerging areas of decarbonization and digitalization so that we can better position the sector to deal with these developments. Let me take this opportunity to thank Lloyd's of London on featuring MPA as a case study under the Greener Maritime chapter of its new climate action campaign. I would also like to thank Lloyd's Asia for kicking off the marine decarbonization research that would involve Lloyd's, MPA, and academics to further support the sector. And we certainly look forward to more collaborations in this area and beyond. So to conclude, green financing, regulation, risk management. These will be the three key thrusts that MPA will be looking to partner key stakeholders to nudge the transformation of maritime services sector forward. And I would say, if we do it well here, it's not just maritime sector, it's actually logistics, it's supply chain as well. So we need to come together and propel the sectors forward. So I look forward to having more partners on board. In times of crisis, as the saying goes, in times of crisis, we see opportunities, and we definitely have seen a lot of opportunities arising in the past 2-3 years. It has not been easy for any one of us here, especially with the port being open 24/7, with the services and your ships and your seafarers all, continuing to be operational. But there are so much opportunities we have seen because the transformation in the sector has accelerated. As one of the speakers said on day one of SMW, our strength is partnership in Singapore and delivery. So I hope that those of you who are looking at strategic partnership, public or private, public and private, public, private and people, you have the same ambition as us to not just talk, but execute and let momentum snowball. Please come forth to us with the proposal on the way forward. Only then we have a chance for global solutions to the global challenges we are facing here as one world, as one earth together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Quah. Thank you. We'd like to invite you back to your seat. Thank you very much.